Then you're going to do what I call a circle. So see how it's coming out of this set of beads? We're going to go down to the next set of beads right next to it and go back up that set of beads. And that made a circle around those two sets of beads. So that was one circle. I tend to do at least 2 circles, sometimes 3, depending on what I'm working on. So now you're going to move a little farther along. And you're going to do another circle. So I'm coming up out of this set of beads. Right next to it, I'm going to go backwards on it and back up it. And what that does is kind of like when you wrap the tail around your pinky, is that it's tightening that down, and so your thread's not going to come loose. I also do not cut my thread right up next to where I've done a circle. I will move my needle and my thread up another set of beads or 2. Just kind of move them along, and as you do it, you will see the path a little easier. Oop, see, I did not catch the right ones. I'm trying to hold it so that you can see it, and it's a little hard for me to see it. Okay, so I'm not right up next to it. Now you can use any scissors that you would like. However, I recommend you get a sharp pair of scissors. Oftentimes the little cheap, inexpensive scissors that you find that are a couple bucks are really good. Do not use those scissors for anything else if you can help it, especially if you're going to do this in a long term, because this thread is nylon and it is very rough on your scissors. So what you do is you take your scissors and you put it across your beadwork and you pull your thread up against them and then slightly cut. Okay, and when you're pulling up, what it does is it causes the thread to pull up a little bit tighter into the beads, and then when you cut it, it kind of goes down in it. Now you will notice as you're moving along that your peyote stitch is extremely flexible in one direction and almost non-flexible in the other. That is another symptom of peyote stitch. Okay, so you're just going to continue on beading as you go. To start a thread, you do the exact same thing. You take your thread. Remember, you are always going to want to start on the down, because when you come back around on that row, you're going to fill the down and go through the up. So if you cut off your old thread and you're going to start a new one, make sure you're starting it on the right end. This one's got an up, this one's got a down. This is where I want my thread to come out. So you just go around in a circle, just like I showed you. Okay. Sometimes your hands get in the way. Move it a stitch or 2. Do another circle. And following the path of the threads, move it up to come out in the right place. So see, I'm moving here. I generally don't move the threads on the edge because it'll make it bulkier. And if it's showing a little bit, just pull real tight and it'll pop back in there, and sometimes even rolling the beads will work. So now, see, I did not catch both, so I have to go back and catch both beads and come out here, turn my work, and I'm ready to start the next row. Okay, in the next section I will show you how to do the final rows and then how to glue the project down. Okay, so you have beaded till your heart's content. Hopefully you have learned the basics of the peyote stitch. This one, I'm going to do the last 2 rows and show you how to finish the project. If you do have any questions during any of this process, please feel free to email me, message me, reach out on any kind of the forums, the Twitter, the Instagram, anything that I have. I will gladly help you answer any questions, whether it's just basic knowledge or if you have something that's a little more creative, you want a pattern designed or something like that. I also have lots of patterns for sale, not kits, but patterns for sale for not only this type of bead weaving, which is peyote, but I do have a couple other patterns that are for sale for some netting. I am also working on another tutorial for another kit. So hopefully you found this one very informative and are interested in joining me again for another kit, which will be, I believe my next kit is the bracelet for the flat spiral. Now I'm finishing the last couple of beads here. And if everything works right, if you've been turning your work right, and if you've been doing your count, you will have a finished design. And it will say, live, love, laugh, which is just a perfect way to start a project. Live, love, laugh. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end my thread just like I've showed you before. Moving my thread in from the end, then going it around, moving it up a little more. If you do notice, I hold my thumb and my finger across my work when I pull my thread. Part of that is because sometimes the work or the thread slips out of my hand, but most of it is actually because it will not tangle as much. If your fingers are actually covering it while you're pulling, it won't tangle right there at that spot. And I will tell you that most tangles are just that, tangles. You can get them out. Very often people think that they're knots, and they're not knots because it's a single thread with single threads. It's very difficult to actually tie a knot that's not a tangle or a slip knot, which just slips right through. So I'm going to do the same thing on the end. I'm going to put my scissors here, pull up on my work, and just barely squeeze my scissors. So this one is done. Live, love, laugh. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap my canvas. Now for this one in particular, I've got a black canvas. Some of you got burlap canvases. Some of you got black canvases. It just depends on what the size and the color combination I had. Now I will say on the burlap ones, you don't really see the threads very much on the edges. Now this one you do, this one you don't. But you don't see it as drastic as you do on a black. And let me tell you what you can do to fix that. It is called a Sharpie. Generally you do it before you mount them. You can just kind of swirl it up in a pile, take a Sharpie, very gently color the edges. Do not slip down your work. It will permanently mark the beads. This just dyes the thread a little bit. Be careful on some of the areas like here where it's a light color. You don't want that Sharpie. So see, I'm going to go right up to where the lighter color is and down the row. This is just one of those little finishing touches. You don't have to do this, but I have noticed that it makes it look much more finished and detailed, especially when you do something like my bracelets and things where you actually have a dark color like this and the thread really just pops out of it. It's like you can't look away from it almost. See? All done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some basic white glue. This is actually school glue. This is left over from one of the many years that we've bought supplies for the school year for my kids. So what you're going to do is you're going to, because this is a very porous surface, you're going to cover in the center, and then take your finger and go ahead and work it into some of the porises. If you have it too thin and it's not kind of soupy as it is here, all the way to the edges and to the corners, you'll need to add a little more, because not only is the surface porous, but the beads are also porous. Okay, so you do not want to have it really thin where the beads won't adhere to it. I will also tell you, this is a glue, something I learned for glue a long time ago. You will also find that you have to check it twice, 3 times, maybe even 4 times, set it to the side. Make sure your work is facing the correct direction before you put it on the glue. Because 2 things happen. Of course, you get glue on it. But the other thing is it will lock the beads in, and it makes it very difficult to move the beads. And once you take it back off, it's never the same. So make sure you're putting it the right direction. You don't have to have it perfectly on there because you can move it around a little bit. Remember, white glue is clear, so it is wonderful in that aspect. Okay, once you get it centered to the way you want it, kind of check all the surfaces. Again, this isn't necessary, but this is my choice. Take a piece of wax paper, or if you don't have wax paper, a Ziploc bag would work as well. Cover the piece, and then put a book or something heavy, preferably overnight. Once you're done and this is dried, you have a finished creation. Your kit is done. You can take your beads and save them for another project or get rid of them. It's up to you. I would suggest that you save your bead mat, your needle, your scoop, and any of the thread that you have left, because no matter what project that you do, those will come in handy. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can visit me at kraftymax.com. You can look through my emails at you can email me at max@kraftymax.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, Google, pretty much anywhere you can think of. And please, enjoy your kits, have fun with them, and I hope they're a great present for yourself or for someone else and that you've enjoyed bead weaving. Thank you again.